Hey, guy or girl who isn't subscribed yet, thanks for checking out the channel. We got a lot going on in this week's episode. Big plans for Canada to ban styrofoam and plastic straws. And plastic bags are actually eco-friendly? I know! I'm mind blown! What's going on, everybody? I'm Milesh P. and welcome to Food Packaging TV on Monday, January 27th. Woo! As of January 1, Vancouver became the first Canadian city to formally ban styrofoam takeout containers. It's part of the city's ambitious plan to phase out single-use item waste, and it's an idea that has restaurants across the country considering the future of the takeout containers in their cities. Now, most restaurateurs would be happy to make an environmentally friendly decision, but in many cases, the financial limitations can get in the way. Like, savvy operators are able to make a go of it and make it work, but for some, there's just not much wiggle room there. There are people who are really close with their cash flow, and taking a look at a container that might be 2 cents less than another container, they're making a decision based on what makes sense. And when you're in that situation, it's tough. And I'm not judging. But know this, styrofoam containers are among the worst products you can serve your prepared meals in. Now, while restaurants may favor them because they're cheap, lightweight, good for hot and cold, depending on what you're serving, but styrofoam may not be the best for you, health-wise, because they're known to be a human carcinogen linked to cancer, and they're also a hormone disruptor, especially when you have hot food in them. So the next time you order pakoras or spring rolls from your favorite restaurant, if they're using foam, make sure they add a wax liner as a barrier to protect the hot food from melting off the foam, because I've seen super hot food being put into a foam container, and it just melts, and you're eating it. Styrofoam was designed for storage and transportation, particularly to keep the maximum temperature of the food it had, whether hot or cold, and storage as in meat trays, but never to be eaten out of, unless it was a cold food like salad, in which case your fork would just puncture the foam wall and you'd be ingesting a little piece of that. So, not to mention, styrofoam containers are also among the worst for the environment. They break down into tiny little pieces and that are easily ingested by fish, animals, and ultimately humans. The Vancouver ban applies to all white and colored polystyrene foam cups, foam takeout containers that are used to serve prepared food, or beverages, and will further be expanded to include the use of single-use plastic straws by Earth Day, April 22nd of this year. The good news is plastic straws are already on their way out by restaurants' choice, but will most certainly be covered by the Canadian ban nonetheless. A high-profile campaign against plastic straws last year drove numerous multinational food and beverage companies, including A&W and Starbucks, to replace plastic straws with paper versions, and many restaurants just stopped automatically putting in straws into drinks as a first step. Now, have you ever used a paper straw? I actually use paper straws at home, and I use them with one of my kids. He's 2 years old, my son, and he likes to chew on things. And I had to literally double take to see if he had chewed off the top of the straw. And I had to go fighting in his mouth to find that he chewed off a piece, but it was too late. He ate that paper nub, and now I'm not such a super fan of paper straws. Well, at least for small kids anyway. But I was supposed to have a drink here, and I was going to demonstrate to you about a plastic straw. I have paper straw, but that's not here, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. A report that came out on January 9th from BBC News says plastic packaging ban could harm the environment. One part I wanted to touch base upon on this discussion was that they said that the plastic versus paper and cotton bags, they rightly noted that paper bags tend to have a higher carbon emissions than plastic bags and are more difficult to reuse. And I agree with this. As I covered this in a previous episode, there is a better bag, which is 100% compostable to consider as an option. But did you know the family of the inventor of the plastic carrier bag says they were invented to help save the planet? That's right. Plastic bags inventor Sten Guftan Tulin, who is credited with inventing the plastic bag as we know today, back in Sweden in 1959. Back then, people used paper bags a lot. And for those who had to cut down a lot of trees, which wasn't exactly great for the planet. So Sten had an idea. He worked out that if you could create a strong bag that was light and would last for ages, then people could use it over and over again. And that would mean fewer trees being chopped down, which would be better for the environment. Raoul Tulin, the son of the plastic bag inventor, said it was very much an improvement on what we had or what was before. He always carried on in his pocket folded up. You know, what we're all encouraged to do today, just to take your own bags to the shop. He was doing that back in the 70s and 80s, but just naturally. Well, why not? Why wouldn't he? Of course he would. He invented it. I would do it too. The truth is, these bags were so convenient that we as humans just got lazy. We just throw them away after we're done with them. Plastic bags weren't single-use, but they became single-use. And it's one of the reasons why we have this plastic pollution problem today. The inventor's son had also said, to my dad, the idea that people would simply throw away these bags is just simply bizarre. Imagine, plastic bags were the first eco-friendly bags. And that's going to do it for Food Packaging TV. Happy Lunar New Year to all my Chinese peeps out there. 新年快乐，恭喜发财. I'm Elish P. Don't forget to subscribe below. We'll see you next week. You want to tune in. Oh! And there's nothing to do with the straw. I was going to say about the straw, but